It's considered good luck in Japan when a sumo wrestler makes your baby cry. But who gets the good luck, the sumo wrestler or the baby? Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Andrea Moore back with us from the Roswell Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Andrea.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome now.
How was, she was, for those that don't know, she was world traveling here. You went to Morocco. I knew Morocco. You also went to Portugal, too?
We did. We went to Lisbon, Portugal first, and then Marrakesh, Morocco.
So not one, but two continents.
Yes.
In a short time there.
In
Very
10
cool.
days.
Very cool.
It was awesome.
Like I was telling you right before we went on air, when I was in the Air Force, we when they sent me to Kuwait for a couple months. I'm sorry, Italy. It was the Italy trip. When I went to Italy, we flew military, but we flew in military aircraft. When I went to Kuwait, I was in a commercial, but we flew in military aircraft. And so we hopped from base to refuels. So we left Charleston, South Carolina, to go across the pond, and we landed in Portugal.
Yep.
And so we spent about an hour in Portugal for refueling and all that. So I've seen Portugal for about an hour, walked out and saw the mountains and the beautiful, I mean, it's really
gorgeous.
Beautiful. But that's my extent of Portugal, was that 45-minute layover, basically, at the military base there. But it was beautiful country. Morocco I've never been to.
Well, I highly recommend Morocco. Okay. Highly, like I cannot recommend it enough. I was nervous to go to Morocco because it's Africa. It's Africa. It's an Islamic nation.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. I'd like to think I'm kind of cute still.
But it's kind of a modernized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend when I was a kid, like when I was 14 or 15. His grandparents did a trip to Morocco as a family thing, and so he went and got to see it. And of course, he came back. You know, the one thing that I think Moroccan, like dumb Americans, know about Morocco is those hats, the red hats with the little tassel on the top. Other than that, most people are like, what else comes from Morocco? And they probably say, no, I don't know.
Spices.
Yeah, but there's a lot more that comes. But
yeah.
We, the dumb Americans, all we know is the hat with the little tassel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was awesome. And that was the leg of the trip I was the most concerned about because, you know, I've been around the world. I've been to third world countries.
Absolutely.
I know that, like in China, they don't have Western toilets.
A lot of people
it's a thing.
Protest and complain about things in this country. Go visit the world.
Yeah.
You're going to realize, America's not so bad. Especially when you visit. Now, I'm not going to sit here, but Morocco, these places in Africa and Asia, beautiful countries, beautiful people, everything's great. But the amenities, the conveniences, the safety, the comforts that you take for granted every day are non-existent in other places, or don't, they just aren't.
100%. And so that's why I love to travel. And this was kind of our test monkey travel experience after COVID, because I haven't ventured very far in the last year and a half because of COVID, because traveling has been so difficult. But it wasn't as difficult to travel as I thought. Now, you do have to wear a mask when you're in the airports and on the plane, so that's kind of a pain in the butt. But you get over it, and
don't get all mad on the airplane and get arrested and jacked up a bunch of people are doing.
And if your flight attendant is cool and you're cool to your flight attendant, they'll give you a little more leeway with keeping the mask off.
Gotcha.
So, of course, I kind of lean how you do. If I have to wear a mask and I can only take it off if I'm eating or drinking, guess what? I'm eating and drinking the entire time.
You're going to be giving me a lot of nuts on that flight, because that's all I'm going to be doing is drinking and eating nuts the whole time.
Yeah, and, people would fall asleep with their masks off and nobody would harass them. So it was no big deal.
Most people treated each other decently.
For the most part.
Good. I got to get on a plane for my first time here in December, flying back east to see family here in December. So that'll be the first time since COVID that I've been on a plane.
So it'll be interesting for sure.
Well, good news is I'm leaving right out of Roswell, which will make the trip out there much, you know what I mean? Because it's a Roswell airport.
So you have 5 minutes to drive home instead of the 3 hours.
But you don't have 3 hours of screenings and security to get into the system, so to speak, from Roswell. Coming back will be a little longer because I got to fly out of Reagan National or whatever it is, and that's a little bit busier airport than.
But Reagan's usually not too bad.
Yeah,
that's
I think
one of
we're
my
flying out
better.
there.
That's one of my favorite airports because
Yeah.
it tends to be pretty easy.
Well, I used to not fly out of there because it would be more convenient for my family to pick me up at BWI most of the time. But
Yeah.
now where my brother lives in Northern Virginia, Reagan National is actually a better one to go to now.
Yeah, when I've gone back to DC, I like to fly to Reagan, even though it's a little more.
Well, it's right in the city. That's the actual airport that's in. There's 3 major airports in the D.C. area. There's BWI, which services Baltimore and Washington, which is right there. There's Dulles, which is in Northern Virginia. It handles a lot more international flights than.
Yes.
And then there's Reagan National.
That's right, in the middle.
Which is in the
That's
city.
right.
Which is actually right on the river, kind of not far from the Pentagon and all that stuff.
That's
right in the heart of the city.
Exactly.
So, which makes that one tricky because there's an Air Force base right up on top of it.
Because they're coming in, they do their little maneuver because there's only
and it's the only
airspace.
airport that if you fly into D.C., you'll actually see D.C. flying into it. When you fly in, you'll see the Pentagon and the Washington Monument and the Capitol building.
That's right.
If you fly into BWI or Dulles, you won't see any of that stuff. But National, you'll fly right into it because there's a narrow window where those planes can go in and out without going into secure airspace.
Because I think we usually fly into Dulles, going to DC, and then we fly out of National, leaving DC because it's easier. Because once we
you can literally
stay.
take the metro to National, where the others you cannot. So but anyway, I don't know how I got another dissertation about airport handlings at DC, but it's glad that you had a good trip.
It was awesome.
Any cool foods or things you got to experience for the first time that you never got to do before?
So in Portugal, we stayed at the hotel where Ian Fleming actually came up with the idea for James Bond.
Okay.
And Casino Royale is literally across the street.
Oh, cool.
So that was cool. So we had authentic 007 martinis.
Not shaken, not stirred.
Absolutely. Oh, it was hands down best martini I've ever had. And I'm kind of a martini drinker. I go in and out of my little cycles of things.
Your phases,
but best martini hands down because it's half gin, half vodka.
Okay.
And then they use Italian. I think it's the Italian vermouth, not the normal vermouth that we usually use here in the States.
Oh, okay. And that adds
so
a little.
It's just a little sweeter.
Okay.
And it's, oh my gosh. It's mind-blowing. So it was awesome. Beautiful.
That
Portugal
was in
is beautiful.
Portugal there. Okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So if I ever go back, I'll have to go and check that out.
Yep, just right outside of Lisbon.
Okay.
Right on the coast. Beautiful country. Their thing, though, is they are into canned cod.
Gross.
They are the #1 importer of cod in the world.
Sounds like some Norwegians sneaked down into Portugal there and started giving their fish stuff up.
So there's this thing that they make, and it's kind of their national thing. It's a fried, crab cakes, which are delicious.
Absolutely.
They have cod cakes that look like little deep fried footballs, and they're disgusting. It's gross.
Is there not cod around the waters of Portugal?
No, there's not one. Not one.
Okay.
So they import it. They
All
are
right.
the #1 importer and our tour guide told us it's some crazy amount. It's like 400 pounds of cod per person ingested per year. It's some weird, crazy, and I'm like,
I feel like they could get it to them fresh or frozen at least, and not in a can. Because
it's crazy.
There is no fish that comes in a can that is really tasty. I know we put up with tuna fish, as American culture, and tuna fish is fine, but there is no delicacy.
No,
when it's fish in a can.
They put cod. They make a garbanzo bean salad thing with cod, and that was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. And of course, my husband is meat and potatoes, fried food, so he loved it. And I was, and it has cheese in it. So it's this fried cod cake with cheese in the middle.
Wow.
It was an experience.
I would still try it because in theory, it sounds like something I'd eat.
Try it.
But canned fish is where I'm like,
yeah, it was gross.
Yeah.
Best wine, great wine, great beer. It was awesome.
Good deal.
Beautiful country. They have, Rio de Janeiro has the huge Jesus statue. Just outside of Lisbon, they have a smaller Jesus statue.
Okay. The mini version of it?
Yeah. So it was really cool to go and see and do all of that. And then, and of course, you know, the castles and the cathedrals and all of that stuff are just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So then we go to Morocco, and I'm still on cloud nine because Morocco was definitely my favorite place. Our last night in Portugal too, for the dinner, we had dinner in a huge winery. So these huge barrels of wine and this huge long table of everybody that was on the tour with us.
Nice.
And there was 86. Yeah, I think it was 84 or 86 people. So this huge long table down in the middle of a winery. It was awesome. Nice. Beautiful. Then we go to Morocco. And of course, you fly into Morocco. It's an African country. You look out the plane and you're like, oh my gosh, where are we going? It's desert. It looks dirty. I'm like, great. The last couple of days, this is going to be atrocious. I'm just going to stay in the room and sleep. No. Awesome. We got to go tour Marrakesh. It was actually a lot prettier than you realize.
Well, it's ornate is what I understand. The buildings and everything they're very ornate, very royal looking.
Well, and on the inside. So you look very plain on the outside, but as soon as you walk in, that's where the ornateness and the beauty, because they're very conservative, because they are an Islamic nation, and the Moors kind of came over. That's kind of one of the places that they originated from, and then hopped over to Europe and conquered Spain, you know, the southern part of Spain and Portugal. So you go inside these palaces, and they're just gorgeous on the inside.
Nice.
And I learned that as a man, you were allowed 4 wives and 24 concubines.
Oh.
So, of course, we're laughing the whole time. I'm like, how did anything get done?
Right.
Because if you've got 28 women that you're taking care of, and God bless a man that wants 28 women, because my husband tells me all the time, he goes, you're more than enough.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I got one, and that's plenty.
Yeah, right? It's like, how? And I just laugh. So it was beautiful. And then, of course, going into the markets, it is just like Aladdin or any of those movies that you've seen, that you're going down what you think is an alley, but it's not an alleyway. It's their streets, and you're walking down these places, and you've got the shopkeepers on both sides, and everybody's trying to hawk their wares, and the smells, because, you know, it does have a very distinct smell because of all the spices and the food. Well, saffron is a big.
Saffron? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I spent time in Kuwait in that part, and it was curry based. A lot of smells of curry and.
So the saffron, the curry, the coriander. I mean, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And our last night in Morocco, we were bussed out into the middle of the desert for what was called Arabian Nights. And we show up, and they have tents. They have these huge tents and carpets everywhere for this wonderful dinner. And in Morocco, they have tahines, is what it's called. And it's a big pot with a top on it that they cook your food in. And of course, they don't have pork. So chicken, beef, fish, any vegetables, and then they stick it in the coals in the fire, and they just let it cook for hours and hours. And that's
slow roasted meat.
Oh my gosh, with the saffron and the curry and the coriander, and it was just the best food I've ever had.
That sounds great.
Hands down.
And it probably wasn't alcohol either, I'm guessing.
No, they had alcohol.
Oh, did they? Okay, because a lot of Middle Eastern countries do not.
No, Morocco is more progressive, so they did have alcohol. And we go into this big tent. It's beautiful. We had belly dancers and fire breathers, and we got to ride camels, and it was just, it was awesome. It was so cool. And of course, hookahs at the end of the night.
Oh yeah, gotta do. Yeah, that's cool.
And while we were there, they lifted the curfew, because when we first landed in Morocco, curfew was, I think, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Everybody had to be off the streets and at home.
Okay.
With very rare exception. And when the day we got there, the next day they lifted curfew, so we were able to stay out as late as we wanted. So our Arabian Nights, we were there till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Cool.
In fact, our tour guides were like, okay, children, it's time to get on the bus. We got to go back, because we left then the next day, 24 hours later at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I slept, got up that next day, and then I didn't go back to sleep till we got on the plane to go from Paris to Atlanta on that long flight to come home.
So I imagine you had a little bit of jet lag and everything else to deal with.
I got a head cold.
Did you?
And so when I got home, I was stuffed up, and then going from Atlanta to Dallas, the guy sitting next to me, I felt so bad. I got a scratchy throat, so I'm hacking the whole time. And I'm like, this guy thinks I'm typhoid Mary, probably have COVID. This poor guy's probably like, oh, great, I have to sit next to this. So I made sure I had a bottle of water and cough drops the whole time.
Right.
And I'm just like,
don't judge me.
I'm like, I'm not, I swear I don't have COVID, because we got tested 4 times while we were gone, because we had to get tested before we left the States. We had to get tested before we left Portugal to go to Morocco. We had to get tested again when we left Morocco.
Man. Well, this room's good. I got tested Monday, so we're all good.
So I've been tested 4 times in the last 12 days. I'm negative. I'm totally good.
Oh, yeah. That was the other text I got. I was, sorry. I'll tell it later. I just remembered. I was talking earlier this morning. After I got out of my surgery yesterday, I sent a text out. There were a group text, and I said, drugs are good. That was my text.
Heard that.
Yeah. Well, now I remember what else I was seeing on the texting, because when I got out of surgery there and I was getting dressed, I looked at my phone, and I'm goofy. Yeah. And I looked at it, and I got a text from the hospital or whomever saying that my COVID test was negative. I was like, oh, good. It's good to know the surgery's over. This guy noticed it's negative, because I got the test the Monday before.
Yep.
And so I was like, oh, that's good. And then I saw that group text, and I just put, drugs are good. And then I went about my day and then forgot about it until I saw that later. I was like, what happened?
Drugs are good. 100%. Yeah. So highly recommend going to Morocco. Put it on your bucket list. Everybody out there in Radio Land.
Yeah. Good deal.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's and like my family, my father, my sisters. When my father was in the, he was basically in foreign service. He worked at U.S. embassies. Basically, he was American working at U.S. embassies.
Cool.
Worked like a building manager. So he spent a couple years in 2 parts of Africa. He spent a few years in Tunisia.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, he was there when they had their overthrow and they had to evacuate everybody to Morocco. But yes, he spent time in Tunisia. And one of the cool sightseeing things there is that's where they filmed the Star Wars. The first parts were the desert scenes, Tatooine, all that's all there in Tunisia. And then he spent another couple years in Ouagadougou, which is Central Africa. It's way third world.
Ooh, that's kind of scary.
Ouagadougou is the city. The country is Burkina Faso.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou is the major city there. It's quite a few people, but for instance, they had a contingent in the last time I saw them in the Summer Olympics, and there was about 7 of them in the Olympic group there. But yeah, he's been there. So they've been in Morocco. So some of the stuff you're talking about is like, it's beautiful. It's really cool.
Awesome.
I mean, you got parts that are way backwards, but then you got other parts like you're talking about that are very
Marrakesh is
modernized
is very progressive, very modern.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't feel unsafe at any time. Yeah, it was awesome.
It's like a matter of fact, another friend of mine, Don Weld, we just had on the radio. He just got back from Egypt a couple weeks ago before you were.
Cool.
Went. He went and did Egypt and all that, and got to see all that stuff. So, which is again right there in that.
Yeah,
region.
and this is the perfect time of year for that area of the country because it's not 12,000 degrees in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, you don't want to go there in the summer.
No.
It's I've spent time in February and I've spent time in June. February is way better to be in that part of the world than it is in June.
That's right.
So I guess we should talk some chamber biz, huh?
Well, yeah.
We spent the last 20 minutes.
We've got some stuff going on. Just a few things. So our business after hours at El Toro Bravo has been canceled.
Okay.
They are in the middle of some renovations.
Okay, so they're going to reschedule.
So they'll reschedule because they've scheduled and rescheduled a couple of times because renovations, unfortunately, are taking longer.
Well, they're such a great business because they got the bakery side, the pollo, the regular rest. I mean, it's all same umbrella, but really 3 different things.
Yes.
And and I know during the pandemic and everything, they were cranking out food, helping people. So I'm guessing they got to get back to, they're probably coming out of COVID and they're like, we got to get our house in order a little bit here as we've been dealing with COVID and everything.
They've done a new outdoor patio. They're doing their kitchen renovations right now.
Man. So I'm thinking that's what it is, and now they can take a breather because they're not, I mean, and I ain't gonna lie, I was like, dude, they're selling like for $20 you get this tray of tacos that you
we
can
would
eat for
do
a week.
that.
Yeah,
that's
my wife
exactly
and I did
what we would do.
Same thing, and it was a godsend. It really was, and I appreciate businesses like that. We're looking out for people and trying to feed them cheaply without resources.
We would do Taco Tuesday, so we'd go like El Toro Bravo for tacos, Los Cerritos for enchiladas, because we would try to hit everybody and share the love.
Yeah, and they were able to keep their business thriving, hopefully, by doing that. And,
well, they must be because they're doing renovations.
That's great to hear. So now they're going to be providing just a bigger, better, nicer thing.
So be looking out when...
so when they do have their business after hours, make sure you mark that on your calendar as one to plan to attend.
Yep. Westlake is doing a Winter Wonderland event. It's December 11th. And they're going to have Santa.
Okay, cool.
So if you've got little ones that need to go tell Santa what they want for Christmas,
all right.
Westlake on the 11th, December 11th, and they're going to have prizes. I'm looking a $5 raffle fundraiser. You could win a Traeger Pro wood pellet grill.
Nice.
It's a value of about $900.
For $5, that's worth it.
Yeah, for $5, heck yeah, because all it takes is one ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Even two tickets, $10. Heck.
Yeah. Well, and I forget, what are they raising money for? It's something great. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head.
Let's see. Thanks to Emperor's Riding Club and Westlake Hardware.
Ah, very good. Yeah, they're that's right. They're partnered with the Riding Club, and they're collecting items for like toys and stuff for kids and things like that. It's for Christmas.
And Rob over there at Westlake is just fantastic. Every time we've needed stuff over at the chamber or even personally at the house, he's awesome. And their people know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Unlike some places where you go and you're like, I need this little widget, and they're like, what?
Well, I like about them is they're a jack of all trades and master of all.
Yes.
What I mean by that is you can find a lot of stuff there that you necessarily wouldn't think you find at Westlake, but you need it's like one of those things you're in there like, well, I'm here to get pipe or whatever. And you're getting that and you're like, oh yeah, I needed to get this. And then you're like, oh yeah, I need to get snacks for the kids tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
I'm here. Dang it. Let me grab those.
Oh, Westlake is awesome.
And that's the great, like they literally save your bacon because you get up to the checkout. You're like, crap, I forgot to get this, this, and this. Oh, it's right here in the checkout.
Yeah, it's in the maze that Rob has created.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So I love that because they remind you. Literally, and it's helpful for people like me. I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to get that at the other store and forgot. So
and of course, we'll have that up on our Facebook page, and it'll be in the weekly email blast. Cool. So please make sure to get out there to Westlake December 11th, and then of course this week leading up to Thanksgiving, there's a ton of stuff around town. First American Bank and Casa is doing their Winter Wonderland. That's the 19th.
Their annual tradition, I guess you could say.
The tree event. So if you need a really awesome, one-of-a-kind Christmas tree, and of course they always have other items in the silent auction as well.
And then the money goes to the CASA program, which helps. And if you're not familiar with that program, they do many things. One of their main things is court-based voice of children in the court. They work with kids and have many outreach and other programs that are part of the CASA umbrella. Yep. But the one thing that most people know them for is they're the court advocate for kids in the system.
Yep. And the Christmas tree event, the Winter Wonderland event is, I believe, their major event. And then in the spring, they have that their clock.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. But that's and these fundraising events, that's their main funding for a lot of their programs and a lot of the good work they're doing for families and kids in our community. So. Yeah, if you don't like decorating but love to have decorations, you know what I mean? That's perfect because I love looking at it, but I hate the work of setting it up and tearing it down.
And of course, some of that stuff goes for buku bucks, but you can always go and look and find something in whatever your price range is. Sure. I mean, seriously, there's stuff in every price range.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go highfalutin, you can, but if you just want to, keep it something in your budget.
And you can go to First American Bank right now and walk through the bank, and you can see all of the things on display, so you know what's going on. And I believe they might even have it online as well. I know
Okay.
last year they did.
Okay.
I have not looked, so I can't verify.
Yeah, well, in the COVID world, they probably do.
Yep.
Probably offer both at this point.
Holiday Magic
That's this
is
weekend.
this
isn't it?
weekend
Yeah.
as well, the 19th and the 20th.
the
That's out
fairgrounds.
at the fairgrounds. So it's 2 days. There's a lot of really
got-
cool stuff.
2 words for people: go there and don't leave until you get these 2 words: pumpkin roll.
Yes.
Don't walk out that building without your own pumpkin roll. I don't care what else you get, but you better not leave that building without a pumpkin roll. Or
Yep.
you're going to regret it, because they're delightful and delicious. And I don't even like pumpkin. I don't like pumpkin. I love pumpkin rolls. They're delicious.
Well, yeah. And then, of course, the Historical Society Christmas Book Fair
Yeah.
is coming up.
Matter of fact, they're going to have a booth at the Holiday Magic Show as well,
Oh,
too. John
perfect.
LeMay will be out there, and so if you want to visit and buy some of the books and things, they'll be out at the Holiday
Perfect.
Magic too. But if you want to come out to the book fair,
That's the 4th
yes,
of December.
on December 4th here.
So right after Thanksgiving.
That's
so.
the rare book fair. So you can't, like the books that are going to be offered December 4th, you can't get at the Holiday Magic.
Correct.
Holiday Magic, you can get like John LeMay or any of our local authors' books. The rare book fair is when people donate and give donations of books and things. If there's doubles, copies,
These are your onesies,
Yeah.
twosies
So
left
these are
over from what
rare
you're keeping.
out of print books that are hard to find, rare, and I will pull back the curtain.
Yep.
The best copies we keep at
Well,
the
of
Historical
course,
Society.
as you should.
Yeah, you're getting the second ones, the best ones, the originals we keep with us as part of the archive. But
Well, of course.
but if we have extras and we only got so much space, we got to do something with it.
Yep.
So thanks to all that donate and generate to get that stuff. But that's a great fundraising event for us to make some
Yep.
money too.
So December 4th, 10 to 2,
Yeah.
over there at the Historical Society. And of course, because books make great gifts.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I always give everybody. And we are renting out our boardroom.
Okay.
So whether you're a member or not,
Mm-hmm.
the boardroom is available.
Need for a meeting space.
And we can fit up to 45 people
I think-
in there comfortably.
Almost every time I walk in there, which is once or twice a week, there's usually
Yeah.
somebody utilizing the boardroom for their business meeting or charitable organization meeting
Exactly.
or something like that. Yeah.
And like yesterday and today, Farmers Insurance Group has been meeting, doing training.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, they had about 35 people in there. Today, it's a smaller group. But that's something we offer.
Yeah.
So if you're a member, obviously you get either free or discounted depending on what level of membership you are.
Sure.
But it is open to the community, because I know that with things changing within the city and county of Chavis, that people are constantly looking for places to meet.
Yeah.
So we, obviously can't fit everybody, but
you
we
can
might
fit a
be able to
good-sized
fit your group. So call us, contact us at the chamber. We are going to be closed to the public all next week for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I'm giving the staff
week
the whole
off.
week off
Nice.
because I too will be gone. So I'm not a dictator and said, hey, if you guys want the time off. So, but we are going to be open for Kiwanis is having their Christmas luncheon on Tuesday because they had already booked it. So we are honoring that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good deal. So come. It's a great thing to utilize because
Yes.
and I know you guys just put new furniture in there, so the chairs, everything are brand new.
It's awesome. And
and
it's
it's
easy to move.
Yeah, and it's got the AV stuff. So if you need a slide project presentation or computer PowerPoint or something
Yep.
like that, that's no problem.
And
There's
you can
equipment.
Zoom with the projector and
Yeah.
everything as well. So we've
And
got lots of stuff.
And there's
Lots
a
of-
conference call deal. So if some of your members need to call in or something,
Exactly.
There's options for that.
We're
to happen.
moving on up.
Yeah, so
We're getting
technology.
and the Christmas Railway is getting ready to open.
Yeah, usually around Thanksgivings when they start up.
Yeah,
right? Like
we
right that
have
Friday.
partnered with Jacob and the Christmas Railway as the Chamber of Commerce this year, and we are providing their program
Okay.
as what we were calling our holiday issue,
Okay.
our 5th print of the year for Roswell Now magazine.
Very good.
We've partnered with Jacob, so be looking for that coming
Okay.
out here super, super quick.
Okay.
Because Jacob is also, like I said, is also using that as their program. So
Good deal.
if you go to the Roswell Railway,
Which you should. It's awesome.
Absolutely. Oh, it's awesome. Whether
Every
you
year
have
gets
kids or
awesome.
not.
Yeah.
Whether you have kids or
My
not, you
wife
should
and I
go.
go, and we don't have kids, but
Yeah.
we'll go and get hot cocoa and eat mac and cheese or soup or something.
Yeah,
Depending
it
on what
is-
I'm into that
It is
particular
so
year.
much fun. And my daughter's going to be dancing on Saturday at the
Okay.
Christmas Railway after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So we're excited.
And that's cool too. Is certain nights, especially the weekend nights, you'll see different groups performing out
Yep.
there. Like usually the flute ensemble does one out there during the
Yep.
time.
And the different dance
Yeah, the
studios
dance
go out and
studios.
perform, and they always have really cool.
Yeah, it's really.
And there's an ice skating rink this year.
Yeah, they I haven't heard all the new bells and whistles for this year, but I know Jacob's always creating new and the VR stuff to the every year there's something new.
He's always
every time.
adding something. So
Yeah.
definitely go out and be looking for that program.
And get on the train. I know
Yes.
even if you don't have kids, I know because you can kind of walk to it or you can get on the train.
No, you got to do the train.
Get on the train, even if you don't get on the train when you first get there and you walk to the village and then have
take
fun,
the train back.
Then take the train back because it's a nice little fun ride around the track, obviously. But
Yeah.
you get to see all the cool lights and there's so much of the exhibit and things that you miss because you didn't ride the train.
Exactly.
And there's a whole lot of work with the lighting and the music and the festivities that they spend many hours setting up and all that stuff. So if you don't ride the train, you kind of miss some of that stuff. And I mean, you can see it from afar, but it's not the same as sitting in the train and you're going through the tunnels and all the little light things they got set up and all that. It's just fun. So come on, be a part of it.
So be looking for that because I know our current issue of Roswell Now just dropped while I was gone.
Yeah.
I was getting phone calls and texts while I was gone that it looks great. It's wonderful. It's our aviation issue.
Yeah.
Our very own Barbara Baldwin is on the cover with Dean Baldwin painting. So that came out. So, of course, we were kind of doing double duty, and it was kind of crazy in the office for a short, hot minute while we were trying to do basically 2 issues at once and trying to figure out how to get everything out in a nice, timely manner.
Well, they get to rest next week.
Well, and now we
Save up
have
turkey.
a little bit of a respite because the next issue doesn't come out until January.
Until January, yeah.
So
you got 2
anybody
done
that
now.
wants to advertise, we have all kinds of advertising for the magazine because it does hit 30,000, just right around 30,000 households because it goes to everyone in Chaves County.
Yeah.
If you have an address in Chaves County, so it's not just Roswell, that's Roswell, Lake Arthur, Hagerman, Dexter, and everywhere within the boundaries of Chaves County.
Absolutely.
It is our gift to the community to
Absolutely.
provide the magazine. So please come advertise. That helps us with our cost to ship it and get it
just
printed.
remember, January, it's going to be busy because it'll be election cycle for city. It'll also be tax season. You know, people start
That's
filing their
right.
taxes and getting their checks back. So if you're wanting to get your name out there as saying, hey, here's a place you can come
That's right.
spend that tax money, use our magazine. Or if you're someone that, is running for office.
Exactly. And
Come
we've
see
got,
us.
and like I said, and we've got all kinds of, from a business just slightly larger than a business card size that we call our business hub to full page, or 2-page spreads that you can take out. So there's always availability in the magazine.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and of course, if you get the magazine or if you've gotten it there in your mailbox here or go, I encourage you to, wherever you do your reading, by the toilet, by your chair in the living room, wherever that is, set it there. And when you're ready, sit down, you'll go through it. You're going to find a bunch of cool stuff.
There's always, and
Yeah.
I look at it and I help edit it and look at it. And even when it comes to my house,
You're like, oh,
I
wow,
still
is that-
look at it and I still read it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So please, don't
And
don't
if
just
you
throw it
want to
away.
contribute to the magazine, if you have a person, place, thing that should be spotlighted,
Mm-hmm.
please contact us. If you're a writer, a photographer, we welcome everybody, anybody that wants
It's
to
a community
contribute.
magazine.
That's because it's about the community. It's not about me.
Yeah.
But if I don't get anybody to come and tell me, then it does become about me. But I don't want it to be that way.
Sure.
It needs to be about the community. It's for the community, by the community.
Well, and that's how this magazine's going to evolve. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? It's as we see where it can help in different ways, it'll evolve that way.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's a tool for the community to get involved and understand what's happening and spotlight some of our treasures and some of
Absolutely.
our parts of our neck of the woods that a lot of people don't realize. There's a lot of vital things that happen in our community that
there are
impact
cool
the global situation.
that I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I've lived here, 25 years. And there's things that I'm learning, and people that have lived here all their lives that we've put in some of the stuff we put in the magazine. They go, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I've lived here all my life and I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. So I invite you to read it when you get it, if you haven't gotten it yet, or if you didn't get one. And if you live in Chaves County, one should show up in your mailbox.
And if it's not, contact us, because then I will, because in fact, now that we have a little bit of a respite between getting 2 magazines out basically at one time, in January, I'm scrubbing the mailing list, because we have, now that we've had, so many go out, so many different issues, we're getting good data about who, some people are getting 4 magazines. Well, I don't want you to get 4 magazines, because you should get 1.
Yeah.
And let's find 3 people that are not getting it and get those diverted somewhere else.
Now, I'm sure if you have a school collage project, you're very appreciative of getting.
Absolutely. And if you're, so like I said, if you're getting 4, let me know so we can make sure you're only getting 1.
Scale that back for you.
And if you're not getting any, also call us, let us know, because I want to get you added to the list and make sure you're not missing out on all of the really cool things.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And of course, like you said earlier, if you want to contribute any way, shape, or form as an advertiser, as a writer, as a photographer, any of that stuff,
any of it,
reach out to the chamber and love to have you.
Yeah, or even just ideas. Hey, I live next to, the coolest ice skater in the world, or whatever, because you never know who, what's going on. I don't know everybody. My kids think I know everybody, but I don't, in fact. So call us, let us know, give us ideas, because we're always looking for that.
Absolutely.
And we can be reached at 575-623-5695.
Very good.
And we're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4 to the public, but we're
closed
usually
next week.
Closed next week. But we're usually, if you see a red vehicle, because both Liz and I have red vehicles, or a big black truck, somebody is there. We do keep the door locked if it's just 1 or 2 of us in the office. We have a doorbell now.
Yeah.
So ring the doorbell. Somebody will come in.
Yeah.
Come and get you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Glad to you had a great trip.
Heck yeah.
And we'll see you here next time, okay?
All right. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody. At 9:59, I got to get a commercial in before we go. Don't go away.
Paid for by government.com.
The